Hello, good evening, everyone. Gabriel Lima here, and we are about to start our Monday live session, Portugal Unplugged. And I'm just going to invite our partners. So just give me here a couple seconds, okay? I can see Lionel is on the way. And now, I'm going to wait just for you so we can start our chat. Sergio, it's on the way too.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Lionel. Well, let's just wait for Sergio, and then we're
I think
gonna
Good
start.
evening.
Sergio's over there as well.
Yep, I'm here. Good evening,
Okay.
everyone.
Well, okay. Just let me connect here the sound. So,
Did we just lose Gabriel?
okay. I think now it's okay.
Okay.
So, welcome everyone. I'm gonna send an invitation to everyone here. Let me see. I think maybe I need to send this here. And today we're gonna address this beautiful Easter week. It looks like we are having already some kind of a peak season. At least I notice here in the Algarve, lots of people coming here and way more traffic and people just exploring around. So the season is officially open. And with me today, so we have Sergio Costa from Portugal AV Tours, and as well as usual, Lionel Rodrigues from Desirable Portugal Tour, and we're gonna address, let's say, what is happening these days here in Portugal, because definitely the season just started with some funny things too, and of course we're gonna update you about what is happening around here. Okay, Lionel, Sergio, who wants to start with this beautiful podcast?
I can start over here. Welcome,
Go
everyone.
ahead.
I just want to address about some news that got to my knowledge today. I want to thank those who shared the information with me. And of course, I need to talk about Sintra and what's going on in Sintra recently. So the town hall is changing the way that people have access to the monuments. There's a lot more control on who can get to where. So as I've posted some days ago, I was there on foot, and I will be there in the next few days as well. I will be on tour in the next few days. The access to Sintra it's way more limited, and in fact, people are strongly advised to park the cars outside the town. There's some parking lots identified to be used, and to take the bus towards the city center or towards the area of the Pena Palace. Well, of course, there's always some things that don't go so well. And today we had another episode of everyone being stuck, everyone being blocked on the road, because once again a bus didn't follow the signage, and a bus that was too big for the road, blocked the road, was obliged in the possible spot, and then to come down. It was an adventure, escorted by police, and it even hit a tree. So the bus, there's images of the bus arriving, coming the wrong way, escorted by the police, with the front damaged by hitting a tree. And these are, supposedly professional drivers. It wasn't a Portuguese bus, but the signage is there, and the signage needs to be respected, because these things, unfortunately, have been happening more than what they should. Last year a few times. This year I'm not sure if it happened already. Probably it did, and it didn't get to my knowledge. But today it was shared a few times online, and there's some videos and footage online about that. And once again, this is to give people the advice of not to drive their cars to Sintra, their rental cars, their private cars, if they are not knowledgeable about Sintra. Well, these things can happen, and even for us professionals, it can be quite disruptive because the roads closed, the police blocking the traffic, everybody coming backing up or coming the wrong way to allow the bus to get through. These kind of things disrupt whichever tour, whichever experience, and sometimes people are stuck for 1 or 2 hours at least until the things get sorted out. So today was, another of those days. I wasn't there, but got, all that info. And in fact, this is an advice, and some people might, read this in a different way. Um, this is an advice really for all the people that want to do a do-it-yourself kind of travel. Portugal, it's very easy to navigate. Portugal, it's a very friendly country, but if you are not sure about driving in certain areas, if you are not sure if you are allowed to go here and there, or if you can't do this or that, don't be creative, okay? Because the creativity in these cases sometimes has a high price to be paid. And sometimes we read online people saying, "Oh, we regret having rented a car because we had this or that situation." And I'm not talking about the issues with the car rental companies and the damage that was there or wasn't there, and people are getting charged by the for the damage, whatever. But I'm really talking about the experience of renting a car and driving around. Not everybody is used to the European signage. Not everybody is used to drive a left-hand drive car. But more than all, not everybody is used to navigate roundabouts, some intersections, and mostly narrow streets and historical centers. So this is really a strong advice. We see more and more vehicles on the road. We see more and more people, with some issues. Okay, traffic rules sometimes being kind of being interpreted in a very creative way. And this can really disrupt not only their vacation, but a lot of local life because people just didn't follow the signage or they don't know. One of the examples that I see constantly around Sintra, it's campers, RVs going to places where they cannot
Oh
go
yeah.
through. They don't fit. They don't fit. Okay, and then they block everybody. Recently, I saw a picture. I don't remember who posted, but it was someone here in Portugal of a camper van in a street that was getting narrower and narrower, and I don't think that they were able to go through. So this kind of stuff, it's more common. So my best advice is really, if you are not sure about it, don't try it because otherwise this can be problematic in many ways. So this was my input about today with some recent news about Sintra. This is one of the what I normally call the crazy week around Sintra. In fact, it's the week that I normally refuse to go on tour to Sintra because I know that things are going crazy. I will be there in the next few days, and I'm really hoping that the things are getting better and they have been improved. But I always go with some low expectations because I know that it's always a problematic time of the year over there. So this was my take on this. Some fresh news. I'm pretty sure that you have more stuff to share. Passing the ball to Sergio, and what are your thoughts?
Well, good evening, everyone. Yeah, I do agree with you on that. Traffic restrictions are starting to become a bit of a nuisance, and also, even for us seasoned drivers and people who know about the places that we are touring, well, I can share with you a personal anecdote from a tour that I had just last week. Even the best preparedness, and especially when you're being handed poor information or incomplete or simply not accurate information by the people who are in charge and who are directing traffic makes things challenging for us locals who know about the places, let alone for people who don't know anything about the places that they are touring. So what happened to me last week is I was on a tour. I had a pickup and a drop off at the Douro Valley at Pinhão, more precisely. And it was a relatively short tour. We were not going very far, something very simple, visiting the Olive Oil and Wine Museum, then doing the cruise, having lunch at Ventuzil. A couple of you probably saw the lives that I did over the course of that day. And then, as we were leaving the final estate, Ventuzil, and head back to Pinhão, there was the road that passes right in front of Pinhão, the access road, which is the National 222. Well, they are doing construction over there, and they basically closed the road. And I was passing there. It was around 4:10, 4:20 p.m. or so, and the police officer just told me, well, the road won't be opening up until 5, best case scenario. And so I asked the alternatives, which I already knew what he was going to suggest, which was going to turn back, head towards São João da Pesqueira, from there to a little town called Trevões, then from there passing through the village where I do have the family house, which is Castanheira do Sul, so I know the area like the back of my hand, and then from there descend down to the National 222 by the river, and then going to Pinhão. Well, I told my guests, looking at the time that we were there, I told them, well, this is actually going to take us longer than just waiting over here for these 40 minutes or 1 hour, whatever it is. So I gave them the option. What do you want to do? Do you want to double back and see more things? Or do you just want to sit here for the next hour or so, waiting for the road to open? And they said, well, might as well see something extra. Well, the thing that the police officer failed to tell me was that once I reached São João da Pesqueira, the road was also closed heading towards Trevões. And so we had to double back and we had to go back to the road closure, to the first road closure, waiting for it to happen, which we arrived over there. It was already nearly 5:10, 5:15 or so. Luckily for us, it didn't take long for them to open back the road. So it was pretty smooth sailing. But again, even for us, when we are handed incomplete information, well, we know what the alternatives are. It's frustrating for sure. I can't even imagine how it's going to be stressful for people who are not familiar with the area. And this might happen. Again, I'm going on a tour tomorrow once again, and I don't know if I'm going to have the same road closure or not. I don't know if I'm going to be able to reach the estate using the National 222 or not. Um, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it was a one-time thing that they did. But nevertheless, I'm going to prepare myself in case there's a road closure once again. Well, I might have to take an alternative that I swore that I would never take because that road is too stressful even for me to take. But if I want to, well, to arrive to my destinations on time, that means that we'll have to leave a little bit early to be able to make that road easily, peacefully, because it's a two-way road where a car can't barely squeeze through it. So if there's a car coming the other direction, I'm basically screwed with an F, like I like to say. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting, challenging for sure. But well, I know what I have to do. For people who don't know these alternatives, well, can be a little bit stressful, and it's for people who are on holidays. Stress is definitely not one of the things that they want to deal with. Well, on a positive note, it's Easter weekend, so we're going to see a lot of things happening over there at the Valley. And so there's actually quite a few things. Most of the estates are going to serve very typical, very unique meals. For example, the cabrito, which is the goatling in the oven, which is a delicacy over there at the valley. We're also going to have in the northern towns, particularly Braga, which is one of the most, Portuguese Rome, so to speak. It's one of the most religious towns in the country. We're going to have processions over there. One of the most famous ones is the Ecce Homo procession, which happens not on the 3rd, but on Thursday night. So from Thursday to to Friday. So it's a nighttime procession, very beautiful to see. So if you're in Portugal, particularly in the north around Braga, that's definitely something worth seeing over there. Uh, for people who have a sweet tooth, we also have the Foulard de Páscoa, which is a sort of a sweet bread that basically represents the friendship, the sharing, etc. The resurrection of Christ as well. And well, even if you're not religious, and even if you're not into these kind of things, well, just know that there's a different type of gastronomy, a very unique gastronomy that is going to happen, a very unique set of events that are going to happen throughout the entire country. Portugal is a very Catholic country, and if you're here during this time period, chances are that you'll be coming across a lot of these events, no matter where you go, from the largest towns to the smallest villages. So this was a very short take. Oh, for example, one thing that I was almost forgetting. If you're traveling with kids, be on the lookout for the Easter markets that are happening in the country during this time of the year. I can give you an example. Gabriel, you know this one, Vila do Conde. We went there just this weekend. My wife and I, we took our son, and it was a very beautiful market. They had carnivals. They had a market with flower decorations. So the Easter bunnies, so made up with flowers, teddy bears, butterflies, you name it. There were swings, a lot of things. Took fantastic pictures with our son over there. So it was something that he really enjoyed as well. Between that and just looking at the cars passing by, well, he's a toddler, he's two, so for people who have kids, you know how this is. But nevertheless, there's an abundance of things to see, particularly in these smaller towns. They do invest quite a lot in these sort of events to attract people over there. And I can tell you that we went there, it was something like 10:30, 11 a.m., and it was already a bit crowded. And they also have food stands over there. They also have craftsmanship shops over there. So you can buy some very nice souvenirs. You can have a good gastronomic experience. I saw food stands with the crepes, well, traditionally French, but I also saw stands with pain con chorizo in a firewood oven. I also saw the stands for the ginger as well. I saw a couple of stands that were showcasing the filigree. So there's quite a few interesting things to do, particularly in these smaller towns. Viana do Castelo, I absolutely loved it. And if you want to linger around, well, you can visit the market. You can ride the attractions that they have over there. It's not that many. You can have lunch at a local place or have lunch at one of these food stands, and then you get to enjoy the sea, the ocean nearby. The weather was absolutely perfect for that during this weekend. So this was my take on it. Gabriel, what about you?
Well, yeah, this is pretty much the same, right? The country is quite small, so it's pretty much the same everywhere. Starting from the end, we have some nice festivals here. The Easter Cake Festival in different places. I went for a very nice one in Padern. So 2 days ago, we are having another one here in São Marcos da Serra. So in the middle of the mountain there. It's not so far actually. From Albufeira, it's 30 minutes. From Lagos, we are talking about 45 minutes. And then it's also not far from Alferce or Monchique. So it could be a nice trip to explore. So we have lots of events here, processions to places like São Brás or Faro. We have some beautiful processions. Here in Ferreiras, on the outskirts of Albufeira, it's very popular. Actually, there's lots of youth there too. Well, actually, my wife and my daughter, right now, they just went for this procession there. It's about the resurrection of Christ, and well, there's lots of things to do here in Easter. Actually, just like Sintra, Lisbon, Porto, there's a big influx of people here, and in the Algarve, many Portuguese people, also mostly people from Spain too. And I noticed today way more tourists. So the season already started. Actually, we're gonna start having way more flights now in April. So in 2 days, we're gonna start having way more flights. And then in just 1 2 days, we notice way more cars on the roads, whether they are transfers or rent-a-cars or Ubers driving around. So it's really the beginning of the season, and then we have also a bit more problems too, because like you were talking at the beginning, I mean, it's easy to drive in Portugal. Yes, it's easy to drive in Portugal, but it's not for everyone, and it's not easy for everyone because some people they struggle, and we see this happening quite a lot. Even today, I've seen again, and I keep also reading. I think it was yesterday. I read someone in a different group, and they were asking about how is the road to from Monchique to Foia, which is with lots of curves. It's not too large. It's a bit narrow. So for me, it's easy to go there. Yeah, it's easy to go there. I used to cycle there. I drive there. But I can see, especially when we are driving down the hill, it's not for everyone because some people they get a bit scared and they don't know the road. They don't know. Actually, they don't feel comfortable. So would I suggest people to drive there? No. Would I suggest people to drive to some other spots by the hills or places where I know they're gonna struggle a bit? No. So yes, driving it gives everyone a bit more this chance to explore on their own, but there are handicaps too, and sometimes the handicap is all the struggles. Let alone the time people they waste trying to figure out the places or parkings. And for instance, this week I already noticed the parkings they still with room, so it's still easy. But I notice way more cars. So from now onwards, it's gonna get more complicated. So we can never forget this. The seasonality plays a big role. So when someone says it's very easy to drive in Portugal, it also depends on the seasonality. It's very easy to drive here in the Algarve in winter. It's not that easy to drive here in summer. I mean, for some people it is because they can just adjust easily. I used to drive in Lisbon, Porto, Seville, so I adjust, right? But not everyone have the same skills. And sometimes we see people driving with a certain age. It doesn't mean they don't know how to drive. Of course they know how to drive. And then we also see people driving like they are driving in their own countries. I don't know, we have lots of people now driving Ubers. They arrive from India. They don't know the rules. But not just them, people coming from England or from other countries, like people coming from the US or Canada, they are not so used to drive through the roundabouts. So even today I saw someone, he just went straight away. He didn't go around, which is wrong.
Let me just say something, and this is something that I get asked a lot. In Portugal, there is no turn right on red unless you have a flashing orange light. And a lot of countries, or at least some countries, have a turn right on red light rule.
Yeah.
That, well, in Portugal can really put people in trouble. Okay. Please move on.
Well, and now I just recall something. The first time I went to Brazil, they don't have the traffic light before the intersection. The traffic light is on the other side of the intersection. So this makes I was not driving there, but I thought, well, this would make me feel a bit confused. So it's very easy for people to get confused and to put themselves in danger. We all know when we see people going around the roundabout to turn left, they're putting themselves in danger. Of course, it's like it's very intuitive. We already know when someone is about to do this, and sometimes even if we horn or something, they don't understand. And this could be very, 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 very dangerous, and bad things happen. Even today, this morning, I was there here in the Albufeira train station in Faveiras, and I was waiting for this beautiful couple with their teenager. We went for a lovely tour today, and I was waiting for the train. There was a delay. The train arrived 30 minutes later. And while I was there, I parked away from the spot because the spot, it was crowded. But I was seeing taxis, buses, and Uber drivers. So it's someone, I mean, I'm laughing, but it was sad because this happens. It could happen with me too. And it was like I was seeing the thing happening. So the bus, he was trying to turn to go around. There's no roundabout, but there's a large, and we know buses, they need to a big area to maneuver. And the guy was driving around, and then at some point he went back a bit, and then in the meantime the guy from the Uber, the Uber driver, went there in the bus, the Uber driver, and then they start arguing there. And then of course the Uber driver, he shouldn't go just after the bus like that. But this is between people who are driving here. We expect a Uber driver, he knows what he's doing, or the bus is, the guy was not guilty. It's hard to drive a big bus, and I mean, he didn't expect the car to be there. So these things happens, and it's going to happen more and more. Also, we all know we had a harsh winter, so lots of the renovations, now they are a bit delayed, and so there's still lots of renovations ongoing. Even today, I got some on the way to Vila Moura, close to Almancil. So there are some road closures, and there are some roads under renovation. And sometimes it's hard to drive because they still with these holes, big holes open, and it's hard to drive. So I mean, people, they need to take this into consideration, especially when we think about the core of traveling. When we travel, it's not about getting stressed, it's about relaxing, right? So today I was driving this wonderful couple, and they were saying exactly this. Sometimes in different places they drive, but here they decided to hire a guide, not just for driving, because of course we are doing this relocation tour too. And so it's even more important to get local knowledge beyond all the beautiful spots. And then it's funny because like we do here, I don't sugarcoat. And then I was telling what I think based in my long experiences over 30 years dealing with people everywhere. And sometimes when I'm with my guests, I share some stuff that I don't share here online. And why I'm not doing this? Because I have friends everywhere. There are businesses everywhere. So even if I don't like a certain area, I'm not coming here to trash that place or something. But when I'm with my guests, I always give them some kind of a alert. So then I say, okay, this is a good spot, but think about this, right? So this is what we do when we run a relocation tour. So yeah, I think it's very important for people to get to know the country and to avoid the problems, because I mean, I know everyone is trying to spend less and enjoying more, but sometimes this balance, it's hard to achieve when we try to do everything on our own, right? So knowledge is key. Well, that's why we are here. We love to share these tips and advices. Sometimes it looks like we are just trying to scare people, but it's not. We see this happening quite often, all these things. And when I said before, when I talked about the lack of parking, many times this lack of parking makes people parking in wherever they can park. And sometimes they park in off roads, or they park in places under the trees or whatsoever. The problem is that sometimes other cars, they drive through there and they make the gravel just blow away, and then it can eat your car too. So, well, this is my take about the topic today. I don't know, Lionel, if you have something more to share, or you, Sergio?
No, I just find it funny that the three of us, each in our area, north of the country,
it's similar.
Center,
it's
south,
similar.
we just had examples and sort of run-ins with traffic issues, either accidents or road closures, whatever that is. And it's not fear-mongering that we're doing over here. It's just reporting the reality of the locations that we tour. And this is a very high-profile week over here in Portugal. Easter week is usually when the peak season kicks off, basically. And so, yeah, we're definitely going to see this a little bit more frequently. I actually just saw the news. Lionel mentioned it a while ago. And I just saw the news over here of a senior driving for a mile and a half on the metro line over here in Porto. I just saw the pictures, and it's one of those situations. Well, you don't know how the guy got there, but well, it does happen. And so we're
From
seeing,
what I got to see, it was a brand new car, or at least a brand new license plate. Could
yep,
be a rental or not, we don't know. But yeah, I just saw the footage. So,
yep. So I don't even know how to make heads or tails out of this, but the reality is, we're. I don't want to say that we're going to see this a little bit more frequently, but let's just say that with the increased traffic, right now the schools are on spring break for Easter, basically. So the next 2 weeks are a little bit more peaceful within the cities, so it's a little bit more manageable. But after that, the chance of us encountering one of these, let's call it traffic anomalies, is going to increase substantially. So, yeah, uh, makes me a little bit concerned because I feel like over the last 8 years of doing tours, I feel like with each passing year, people are driving worse on the roads.
Okay, Sergio, sorry. He said exactly what I was thinking. You've been noticing a difference. So here's the thing. We have more people moving to Portugal, right? Expats. They buy their cars. I'm not saying they don't know how to drive, but we have more quantity. We have way more immigrants coming from Asia, Bangladesh, whatever, and what they are doing mostly driving Uber. So we have more people coming. We have more traffic. Of course, we have more problems. The parking lots, they still pretty much the same size, and this is, of course, it's not the tourist fault. So the problem is the governments, they don't build new infrastructures, but especially the we have endless back roads and off roads. They don't become larger just like that, and the old towns, they don't grow. Actually, in many areas we are having more pedestrian areas, so it's getting harder to drive even for us. I can tell it about the Algarve. This used to be very quiet, except in July and August. Now it's no longer like that. Today I was driving in Almancil in some certain areas. It looks like summer already, and of course it's going to get harder and harder every year. So I don't know if it's going to be that easy to drive here in the next few years. Well, let's see. Then I'm going to get my retirement and it's okay.
yeah, well, in here we feel the same. So pretty much this week it's quite busy, and the places I'm going to visit tomorrow, I'm expecting some traffic. Not really Sintra the town, but yeah, we see a lot more vehicles around, and the weather is helping. So the weather
Oh,
seems to
yeah.
be nice on the next days. So our best advice is really slow down, don't stress out, don't try to do everything in one day, don't
Oh,
rush.
yeah.
And if you are not sure, get professional help, because
Uh,
even for us, sometimes it's a bit tough. But in fact, we try our best, and we know sometimes, the plan B or plan C, that Google Maps doesn't even know. But just, I'm going to get you a take on this. The roads in Sintra, they are restricted to the Pena Palace. Either ways, or Google Maps had the roads blocked to go to the Pena Palace. If you would hire an Uber, or if you want to ask for an Uber to take you to Pena Palace, the route that the Uber app would calculate has an off-road trail that is forbidden for vehicles, and part of the road to access that trail, it's part of the road that is forbidden as well. So when I saw the Uber app pointing out to go, and now I can say some names that don't mean much for a lot of people, but the Uber app was pointing people to drive towards the road behind the Cruz Alta and to reach the end of the Pena Park near the Quinta Val Flor. So that is just an off-road. Well, it used to be an off-road trail, now only for mountain bikes and such, or on foot, because it's totally closed to motor vehicles. Because Uber was calculating the best way to get to the Pena Palace, but of course taking in consideration the detours of the roads that were closed. So it seems like some drivers, people got an Uber in Lisbon trying to reach Pena Palace, and the driver didn't know the place, didn't know the area, was following the app, and pretty much people were
Ah,
just stranded with an Uber driver that, well, didn't know really where he was going. And that is another thing, because sometimes the app doesn't really well mention the final destination clearly, or the route that the app is pointing out doesn't make sense. So that's the problem for people that don't know the area and are just driving according to the GPS. Worse if they really don't know the area and are new, well, on the platforms, or well, working for Uber, whatever, because every month there's a new drivers getting into the activity, so they are pretty much lost with guests inside the car. And this, uh, it's not something that we are just saying, well, to scare whoever. These are facts that are being reported. These are facts
yeah.
that come to public. And I follow a few groups of Uber drivers, and well, there's complaints about this, and some even say, well, you were a fool for accepting a trip to Pena Palace, because you already should know that no one goes there, and so on and so on. So I'm using this example, but this is an example that has been, well, real since the new road restrictions were implemented. Well, the restrictions were implemented way long ago. Okay, so as 5 or 6 years that the signs are there. Now, finally, we had the authorities enforcing that, and the road is blocked on Google Maps and Waze. So finally, but in fact, the restrictions exist for a long time. Most people were not respecting that. That's another story. So
Hmm.
yeah, this is one of the recent cases that I've been seeing. But well, as I started our live today, so the news for today, for once again a bus blocking the road. What will be the news for tomorrow? We don't know. Well, I will be
Well,
on tour, not exactly in Sintra, the town, tomorrow, but well, we don't know what are the news for tomorrow. Although towards the end of the week, expect the things to get worse and worse. So if you were planning to drive towards Sintra either on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, my best
Whew.
advice is just don't.
No.
Pretty much it. Unless you, well, want to start, well, stressing out a lot, because unfortunately, those are really some of the most stressful days over there. So
well,
my final thoughts were this. Time is just ticking. Well,
Yep.
I'm going to pass to Sergio. I don't know if you have something more to add.
yeah, you actually, when you were mentioning Uber, it just came to mind. Well, the big news of last week, the city of Lisbon is going to
Yeah.
create red zones in the city,
Yeah,
which will not be allowing pickups and drop-offs on Uber or Bolt platforms.
yeah.
So,
I was waiting to get a little bit more insights on that. I read those news, but I would really like to see, well, a map with the things implemented to really talk about that. What we know, there's a lot of protests now going on from different sides, different associations.
Yeah. Yeah.
yep. But, well, I just saw the list over here. Príncipe Real, Rua do Ouro, Belém Street, São Pedro de Alcântara,
Hmm.
the Avenida da República, Central Area, Fontes Pereira de Melo, Marquês de Pombal, Avenida da Liberdade, and Avenida Padre Cruz. So basically, these are the high-profile touristic areas in the city of Lisbon, where
Hmm.
shortly you won't be able to request an Uber, or you won't be able to be dropped off over there if you're taking an Uber. And
Now,
so
this,
this is what they're creating. They are talking about red zones, and they are talking about blue zones, taxi style, where it basically is a staging area for Uber vehicles, where you have to go there and you have to request an Uber there while you're at this new blue area. So we don't know when this is going to be enforced, but chances are that it's going to be sooner rather than later. I'm not seeing the date, but I heard some rumors that this was going to start as early as April
Yeah.
1st.
Hmm. I think I read it.
yeah, I heard that as well, but there's a lot of controversy now. There's supposedly even the taxi associations called for an urgent meeting.
Yeah.
There's also some law projects going on supposedly to allow taxis to be part of Uber platforms. So, in fact, the ride hailing in Portugal, it's changing. And well, let's see how this is going to be. But my take on that, it's and I'm going to be very realistic on my thoughts. This kind of things normally don't change for better. Okay, so normally these changes are not gonna make life easy to a lot of people. So let's sit and wait. I'm also waiting about the supposed temporary measures in Sintra being due in April 6th. So I want really to know what temporary measures will become definitive. And then I might have some other takes about Sintra pretty soon. I'm not saying that Sintra is not worth to visit. It's a beautiful place, but in fact, the way I see people visiting Sintra might not be feasible in the near future. Or then, people need to take more time or to plan more time and to slow down to see the things over there. But yes, the things are changing. So let's see how this is going to be. And it's pretty much it. Gabriel, any final thoughts from you as well?
No, I mean, we just you just said it all, and I just want to wish you all a great week ahead. You guys too. Let's work. We're gonna have a busy week, and we are here to help people, and we are here to guide people throughout Portugal, and to share our thoughts. Some popular, some not so popular, but we are honest. So stay tuned. We're gonna be back here next Monday. Bye bye, guys.
Yeah, well, I'll see you next Monday from a totally different place. We'll be on tour to some very unique, tailor-made experiences. But, have a great week. Enjoy Easter week. Have a lot of fun. Be careful with the Easter eggs. And,
Yeah.
anything you need, we are here to help. So post your questions. Leave your comments, and we're here to help. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next week.
Thank you all. Have a great week and happy Easter to all.
Bye bye, guys. Bye bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.